If you're disputing the same accounts over and over with no results, you're not doing it wrong, you're just not using the right systems. I recently did a training with our entire team breaking down the step-by-step process to challenge inaccurate data legally and effectively without relying on shady tactics, using fake identity thefts, or anything that's illegal. I'd like to share that training with you on this episode. You're going to learn how to leverage the laws at each stage of the credit repair process, go beyond credit bureaus, and hold both data furnishers and CRAs accountable using real compliance strategy. So if you're serious about ethical, scalable credit repair, this episode is your blueprint. Here we go.
When it comes to credit repair in general, there is a lot that is misunderstood. There's a lot that is mistaught in our industry. If you've been doing this for any amount of time, I'm pretty sure you've heard from your leads or from your clients, credit repair, that's a scam. That crap doesn't work. We're set out to change that. Everything that we do is 100% by the book. And the problem is that most credit repair companies out there aren't doing things 100% by the book. But before we go into the A to Z of credit repair the right way, let's first talk about the wrong way. Like, these are things that you guys may have heard out there and may believe just because you didn't know better. Somebody didn't teach you the right way or otherwise. But YouTube and social media and TikTok, I mean, it's bad out there. And consumers are watching this stuff and they're having unrealistic expectations of what credit repair actually is. So I want to debunk some of these wrong ways that is out there on social media and on YouTube and all these other places with these other credit repair companies and how they're doing stuff, right? So the first thing is, guaranteed results. In order for us to understand why this is wrong and bad, we need to really have a grasp on what credit repair really is and how it really works. At the end of the day, there was a law. This bad guy right here, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, this is a law that was enacted back in the 1970s. This is the guide on how to fix credit. And if you don't know this, if the person who's actually responsible for writing disputes and challenging items, if they don't know what this is, then they have no idea what credit repair is and how it works, okay? So the only reason credit repair even exists in the first place is because of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And the Fair Credit Reporting Act states that everything that's on a credit report has to be three things: 100% accurate, 100% verifiable, and 100% timely. We'll say that again: 100% accurate, 100% verifiable, and 100% timely. So it's not 100% accurate or 100% verifiable or 100% timely. No. It's 100% accurate and 100% verifiable and 100% timely. So let's break that down real quick. What does it mean to be 100% timely? I'm sure you guys have all heard that things can only stay on the credit report for 7 years, right? After 7 years, it's not allowed to be reported anymore. Do you know why that is? Because that's what this says. This states that derogatory items can only stay on your credit report for 7 years. If it's been more than 7 years, then it's no longer supposed to be on there because the law says it can't be on there anymore. Therefore, if it's not timely, it must be removed. 7 years from what? That's a good question, right, Bruce? 7 years, when does a 7-year clock start ticking? Well, it starts ticking on the date of first delinquency, okay, or the date of last delinquency. What that means is, when was the last time that this account got paid and then never got paid anymore? So let's say you made your June payment on that credit card, and then July, you did not make that payment. And then August, September, and then for 7 years after you didn't make a payment, that account should come off 7 years from when you first became delinquent on that account and never got caught back up. Now, let's say you miss your July payment, and then you miss your August payment, and then you miss a September payment. And in October, you make up all those missed payments in your October payment, and now you're caught up. Okay, well, that 7-year clock starts over again because now you're caught up. Okay, so it's 7 years from the day you become delinquent and then never get caught up again. That's the time frame for something to stay on a credit report. If it's been more than 7 years since you made a payment, right, since that account became delinquent, it can no longer be on your credit report. So that's the timely part of the FCRA. The other two are accurate and verifiable. So what does that mean? Let's say you're looking at a copy of somebody's credit report and the balance on the account says it's $500. That's what it is reporting on the consumer report. The balance on this credit card, on this charge off, is $500. Okay. Well, but if the balance really is $600 or $200 or $502, then it's not accurate, right? By definition, it is not accurate. So everything that's on the credit report, everything that is reported about the consumer on the consumer report has to be 100% accurate, not close to being accurate, not potentially accurate, 100% accurate. If they're reporting a $500 balance, then the real balance on that account better be what they're reporting it is, $500. And if it's anything different from that, it's no longer accurate. And it has to be removed because the Fair Credit Reporting Act says that anything that's not 100% accurate must be removed from a credit report, right? But then it also says that it has to be 100% verifiable, meaning let's say they are reporting accurate information. And by the way, it's not just balance. It's account number, it's balances, it's credit limits, it's payment history, it's open date, close date, last payment date, and all that data that you see on a trade line on a credit report, everything that's on there, every number, every date, every name, 100% accurate. And if any of that is off even by a little bit, it's no longer 100% accurate. Therefore, it cannot be reported, must be removed, right? All right, so that's accurate. Moving on to verifiable. Let's say they are reporting everything is accurate. Now, Bruce, it is a $500 charge off. That is my account number. That was the credit limit. Those late payments are correct. All of that stuff is 100% accurate. Well, you still have a chance because the FCRA says it also has to be 100% verifiable, meaning in the court of law, you are innocent until what? Proven guilty, right? So the same is true when it comes to your credit report. Not only does it have to be accurate, the companies reporting that information need to prove that it's accurate. So if the glove doesn't fit, the glove doesn't fit, right? Like it has to be proven to be accurate. The fact that it's true doesn't mean anything unless it can be proven to be true. In a nutshell, that's credit repair. Every item on a credit report, whether good or bad, positive or negative, derogatory or not, this doesn't apply only to the negative items, this applies to the entire credit report, right? Has to be 100% accurate, 100% verifiable, and 100% timely. And if, big two-letter word, if it's not, then it must be removed. Because if it is, then there's nothing in the law that says it has to be removed. If it's accurate, if it's verifiable, if it's timely, there's nothing here that says it has to be removed. On the contrary, it actually should be on your credit report, right? So in a nutshell, that's really like the meat and potatoes of credit repair and how it works. The reason why results cannot be guaranteed is because you and I, even the consumer, we don't know if that account is 100% accurate, verifiable, or timely. We may know if it's timely, we may know if it's accurate, but we don't know if it's verifiable because the only person who knows that it's verifiable or not are the companies that are reporting it because they're the ones that have the proof that it's accurate, right? Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and Bank of America, and Midland Funding, and Portfolio Recovery, and Wells Fargo, and Santander, they are the ones that have the burden of proof, that have to prove that it's accurate. Now, what if it's accurate? What if it's timely? And what if the bureaus or the banks and the collection companies have proof that it's accurate and they supply that proof? Then is that account going to come off the report? It's not. Should it come off the report? No, it shouldn't because there's no law that says that it should, right? Think of it like driving a car. Imagine for a second you drive a red car. You're just driving down the street, about to pick up your kids from school, whatever, and then you get pulled over and the police officer gives you a ticket because you are driving a red car. That's it. He pulled you over and gave you a ticket because you're driving a red car. Can he do that? Nope. You can't. You shouldn't. Why not? Because in order for you to get a ticket, you have to be violating a traffic law. You can't get a ticket if you're not violating a traffic law because a ticket is a consequence of violating a traffic law. The removal of items from a credit report is a consequence of violation of reporting laws. So if the banks, the credit bureaus, the collection companies, they are not violating the law. They're not doing anything wrong. On the contrary, they cross all their T's, they dot all their I's, they can't get a ticket. There's no consequence. You can't remove something when nothing wrong was done in the first place, right? Now, if you're speeding out of school zone and running red lights and stop signs and making illegal U-turns, can you get a ticket? Yeah. Not only can you, you should. Why? Because you're violating all of these traffic laws. Same issue with the credit report. If the items, the way they're being reported, are inaccurate, unverifiable, or untimely, they must be removed from the credit report. Okay? So I've set the foundation here to explain to you why it is literally and physically impossible to guarantee anyone any specific outcome. Because the way credit repair truly, really works is impossible because you don't know. I don't know if the credit bureaus, if Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, or the banks and the collection companies are going to be able to verify with proof the information that they're reporting or not. Do you know if they will or not? You don't. And guess what? The only way you will ever know is if you ask, right? Because they don't have to provide anything to you unless you ask, unless you dispute it, unless you ask for verification or validation of that account. If you don't ask for it, they have no obligation of supplying it to you. But if you do, then they have to supply it to you within 30 days. Because the law also says that when you're disputing, the banks, the bureaus, the collection companies, they have a 30-day clock on their heads to respond to your dispute. And if they fail to respond to your dispute within 30 days, they are violating the Fair Credit Reporting Act. We can then in turn use that violation as leverage against the banks, against the credit bureaus, against the collection agencies to get those items potentially removed from the credit report. I want you to think about it logically. Hopefully, everything that I'm saying is making sense, right? Hopefully the pieces of the puzzle are coming together. Because now, when you hear the TikToker guy say, "Oh, we can remove collections in 7 days," you're Houdini? You're a magician? Who are you? You bejesus? Like, you can't. It is physically and literally impossible to do that if you're doing it the legal way, right? Or, yeah, we guarantee results within 30 days. We'll increase your scores by 150 points. Really? How? How are you legally doing that? There's a bunch of illegal ways to do so. You can become a millionaire and sell dope in a corner in a year. You become a millionaire. Do you want to go sell dope in a corner? No, because it's illegal, right? And probably other reasons too, I hope. But number one reason, like, I don't want to go to jail for selling dope, right? Well, I don't want to go to jail for doing credit repair illegally. You can Google it. Go ahead and open up Google and say, people who's gone to jail for illegal credit repair. You'll see a bunch because it's fraud. It is literally fraud to do credit repair illegally, right? So just like people go to jail for tax fraud, you can go to jail for credit repair fraud, right? And guess what? I'm not interested in going to jail, right? I got a beautiful wife. I got 3 beautiful kids. I got a family I got to take care of. I ain't going to jail for nobody, okay? So I'm not trying to do things illegally. But these people on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, they may not even know that what they're saying is illegal because they have never opened the good book in credit repair, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. They have never read this for themselves to understand what it really is and what it really isn't, right? So you can't guarantee results because it's physically impossible. Now, what about credit scores? Well, the only companies that can influence a credit score, it's FICO, it's Vantage, it's the actual credit scoring companies who develop an algorithm, right, like a mathematical formula that takes the data that's on a credit report and calculates it into a 3-digit number called a credit score, right? So you guys might have heard FICO's formula. 35% is payment history, 30% is utilization, 15% is length of credit history, 10% is inquiries, and 10% is new credit, right? Or 10% is types of credit. That's how FICO calculates a credit score. Vantage, which is what you see on Credit Karma and Smart Credit and Identity IQ and your bank app, Vantage has a completely different mathematical formula. It's not 35, 30, 15, 10, and 10. Their formula is completely different, right? Imagine you wake up in the morning, you step on your bathroom scale, and you weigh 150 pounds, okay? You just woke up, you step on your bathroom scale, you weigh 150 pounds, you take a shower, you have some breakfast, and then you go to your doctor's appointment for your yearly physical. And then you step on your doctor's office scale, right? And the scale says you weigh 158 pounds. Did you really just gain 8 pounds from this morning after you showered and ate breakfast and went to the doctor's office? No, you didn't gain 8 pounds. What did you do? You simply step on a different scale, right? Your bathroom scale says 150. The doctor's office scale says 158. Who's right and who's wrong? Doesn't matter. What matters is that you did not gain 8 pounds just because you had breakfast in the shower, right? The same issue with your credit score, right? That's why when you look at a client's credit report on credit score on Smart Credit or Credit Karma, they may have a 682, and then they go to their mortgage loan officer, and the mortgage loan officer pulls a credit score, and their credit score is really a 625. Well, Credit Karma says 682. The mortgage guy says 625. How did that happen? How's that possible? You're wrong. It's like, no, it's no one is wrong. It's different scales, right? Credit Karma, Smart Credit, Identity Q, they use a Vantage 3.0 scoring model. Mortgage lenders use FICO 2, 4, and 5, right? Credit card companies, banks use FICO 8. So the scale that is calculating the score has a different algorithm. So how can anyone say I can increase your credit score by any amount of points? They're lying. They're full of crap because it's impossible. Like, first of all, you don't even know what scale they're going to be stepping on. Like, you don't know if they're applying for a mortgage, if they're applying for a credit card, if they're looking at Credit Karma. So how can you say, right? And what increases the credit score? A number of different things. Did you know that is actually possible to remove derogatory items from a credit report and a credit score drop? You can go in and you can remove 4 collections and 2 charge-offs from somebody's credit report and their score drops. How does that happen? Well, you have to understand the algorithm. You have to understand the scale that is being used to calculate that credit score. So a credit score is influenced by the data that's on a credit report, right? If you pay down your credit cards and you lower your utilization, your credit score is probably going to jump up. If you max out your credit cards and you have late payments, your credit score is probably going to go down, right? So does it matter at this point what scale you're stepping on? If an action was taken where the data on the credit report is now changing, well, now the input into the algorithm is changing. If I'm putting a 20% utilization into the algorithm, it's going to spit out a credit score. If I'm putting 80% utilization into the algorithm, it's going to spit a completely different score. Now, back to my scale analogy, right? Look, you ate pizza and wings and hamburgers and hot dogs and french fries for 2 weeks straight. You step on your bathroom scale, it now says, I don't know, 160. You gain 10 pounds. I can guarantee you that you will step on your doctor's office scale, and that scale is also going to go up. Why? Because the data changed. You gained weight. So it doesn't matter, brother, what scale you're stepping on. You gain some weight. Your utilization goes up, your score goes down. I don't care what scoring model you're looking at. They all factor in utilization, right? The higher the utilization, the lower score. The lower the utilization, the higher the score, right? So again, back to my soapbox about why people can't guarantee results and can't guarantee score increases and numbers. Now you know why. Because hopefully, logically, it's making sense, right? So think about that for a second. Anyone that's out here saying this many points in this many days, this much results in this amount of time, I'm sorry, you're getting fooled. They're lying to you, okay? It's just flat out lies. And that is why consumers are sick and tired of credit repair companies, because all these little credit repair companies are out there scamming people, lying to them to their faces. Maybe they don't even know they're doing it because that's just how they were taught, but doesn't change the fact that they're lying to their clients, right? So now they don't trust you because they're going to think you are just like the other credit repair guy that they trusted, a credit repair gal that they trusted on TikTok, right? So now when you come to your leads and to your clients with these facts, which they have never heard before from somebody else, that builds instant trust and instant credibility because you are now a breath of fresh air and they finally feel like they're not being lied to because you're telling them the truth and you know it's the truth, and the truth isn't subjective. The truth is a truth is a truth and never changes. This is your proof right here of what you're saying is true, right? So now that we have understanding of that, right, what credit repair is, how it really works, how it doesn't work, and what you shouldn't be doing, then let's understand how do we use this to our benefit and to our customers' benefit, right? Credit repair, man, unfortunately, credit repair is a service that you cannot guarantee an outcome for the reasons that I just listed, right? So it's like walking into Best Buy and say you want to buy a 85-inch TV, okay? And then you talk to the guy in the blue shirt and he says, yeah, that box right there, that's the 85-inch TV right there, right? And then you take that box home and you open that box and boo-hoo, you got a 55-inch TV in that box, not an 85-inch TV in that box. Unfortunately, that's credit repair. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because we can't guarantee that there's an 85-inch TV in a box that we're giving to customers because we don't know which creditors are going to provide verification and validation and timeliness. We don't know. All we can do is ask, right? However, there are certain things that we can do to ensure better success. Like, for example, don't just take the guy's word for being an 85-inch TV in that box, right? Maybe you pick up the box a little bit and you're like, huh, this does not feel like an 85-inch TV. And then you pick up the box next to that and it's a little bit heavier. Oh, okay, that one probably has one, right? Or maybe you open the box and you peek and you take. So there's things that you can do not to guarantee, but to increase the likelihood that you are getting what you feel you're paying for, right? So because we can't guarantee results, because we can't guarantee credit score increases, because it's physically and literally impossible to do that, well, then how do we still provide a good service to our customers? Well, number one, provide realistic expectations, right? Look, Mr. Jones, I can't tell you whether or not we're going to be able to get that repo off. What I can tell you for sure is that if you do nothing, it's definitely not coming off. Why don't you let us try? Put us to work. Let us use our expertise of the federal laws that are in place to ensure that your credit report is accurate, right? And at least have a chance of getting this off. Because if you keep doing nothing, you're just going to have to wait 7 years. You want to keep waiting? Or do you want to give yourself a shot of getting this off? Trust me, people will be okay with that. They're not going to say, oh, I don't want to sign up because you didn't guarantee it. No, because people aren't stupid either. They know that what you're saying is true. If you do nothing, guess what's going to happen? Nothing. If you at least give us a chance, we have a shot of getting it off. And guess what? We have a 90-day money-back guarantee. If nothing comes off your credit report in 90 days, you get all your money back. What do you have to lose, Mrs. Jones? So don't be afraid. Don't be scared to tell your clients the truth that I don't know if it's going to come off. It may not come off. But the last thing I want to tell you, Mrs. Jones, is that I am going to get it off and then I don't get it off. Because then you're going to be upset, you're going to be mad at me, and you're going to trash my name all over social media. And I don't want to do that, right? I'd like to underpromise and potentially overdeliver. Would that be okay with you? And I'll tell you, people will still sign up because you are a breath of fresh air. You're not like the other people that took their money and ran and got nothing done. They understand now how this works. They understand now what they're actually signing up for. They understand what they are paying for. They're paying for a shot of getting this stuff off. They're not paying to for sure get this stuff off. They're not paying for sure get a 780 credit score. They're paying to give themselves a shot because if they don't, then nothing is going to happen unless you wait the 7 years. Understanding what credit repair is and how it works helps you sell your services. If you know your product, you can sell it better than anybody else. If you know credit repair and I don't know credit repair, you're a much better credit repair salesperson than I ever will be because you know your product. You know the service. What I'm giving you guys right now is knowledge. Take that knowledge and apply it to your conversations with your leads and your customers because you'll have happier customers. And you know what happier customers do? They refer more customers. Who likes referrals? I love referrals, right? If you're anything like me, I don't buy anything on Amazon without first looking at the reviews. I refuse to. Hey, they give me 2 products. One product has 400 reviews. Another product has 8,000 reviews. Guess which product I'm going to buy? The 8,000 review one. But guess what? The 400 review one may be better. I just don't know. I don't trust it. The one with more reviews. Why? So that's referrals, right? Like 8,000 people are saying, why? Because happy people leave good reviews. So if you did not lie to your client, maybe you didn't get everything off their credit report. Maybe you only got 1 or 2 things off, but you didn't lie to them. They know exactly what they were getting themselves into. Their expectations were realistic, right? And you outperformed what you said in the first place. It's like, I don't know if anything's off. And then you get 2 or 3 things off. They are happy. Happy clients refer other clients. Period. Agreed? Okay. All right. We'll take a drink of water. And we're going to get into the A to Z of the actual dispute process. That was just the introduction. All right, here we go. So in credit repair terminology, in credit repair lingo, we have what's called rounds of disputes. Okay, rounds, R-O-U-N-D-S. rounds of disputes. Round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. You get it, right? So that's kind of like how the program is timed or calculated. It's organized. What round are you in? Okay. So rounds of disputes. What happens when your client signs up on your credit like stage? They book an onboarding call. Okay. And then our team calls that client on that date and time, and we onboard them. During that onboarding call, we're making sure their agreement is signed. We're making sure we collect the necessary documents like their ID and their proof of address, and we're signing them up for credit monitoring so that we can access their credit reports, all three of them. Okay. And then now that we have the credit reports, we will go over that credit report with your client line by line by line by line. And we'll tell them what's good. We'll tell them what's bad. We'll tell them what we're going to do and how our services work. And we're going to do our best to echo what you should have already said with realistic expectations. All right. Because we get clients that cancel on their onboarding call because they say, well, Johnny affiliate said you can get this off in 30 days. You're telling me you can't guarantee results? That's right. We can't guarantee results. Okay, cancel my program. That's not on us. That's on Johnny Affiliate because Johnny Affiliate lied to the client, right? So I want to empower you guys to be able to enroll people with the right expectations so that we are echoing what is supposed to be being said by you guys to the customer. So it's uniform and they feel like we're just all one extension of each other. So we onboard the client. The client has the realistic expectations, hopefully, and then we go into a round 1 dispute. That's where we're sending a first round of dispute letters to the 3 credit bureaus. We're sending a round to Experian. We're sending a letter to Experian. We're sending a letter to TransUnion, and we're sending a letter to Equifax. Now, on this letter, we're being very strategic. This is the most important dispute letter in the entire dispute process. It's that first round dispute letter. Why do I say that? Because round 1, that letter is not even a dispute. We are not disputing anything. Do you know why? Because the moment we dispute something, that means we are making a claim about something. And if we are making a claim about something, guess who has to prove that claim? We do, because we're the ones making it, right? So on round 1, we're not saying, I don't recall ever being late, delete this late payment. Because if I say that, then the burden of proof of that is on me. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to make our job harder. We want the burden of proof to be on them. We want the burden of proof to be on the credit bureaus, on the banks, on the collection companies, not on us. So the burden of proof has to rely on them. If I say this collection doesn't belong to me, whoa, okay, then I have to prove that. So I'm not going to say that. Not in round 1, because the burden of proof is out. Anytime I dispute something, anytime I make a claim about something, I hold that burden of proof. And I don't want to make my job harder, right? So round 1 letter is very simple. It's, hey, Equifax, I recently took a look at a copy of my credit report, and I found some items on there that I would like for you to verify, number 1, is reporting accurately, and number 2, belongs to me. If you are unable to do so, I demand you delete this from my credit report immediately. Here are the items that I'm talking about. Capital One, account number 5678. Portfolio recovery, account number 00123, right? And that's it. I'm asking them to do what? Verify that it's 100% accurate and that it belongs to me. And then I'm giving them an instruction that says, if you aren't able to do so, I demand that you remove it from my credit report immediately. If the completeness or accuracy of any item of information contained in a consumer's file at a consumer reporting agency, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, they're consumer reporting agencies, consumer files, aka credit report, okay? If the completeness or accuracy of any item of information contained in the consumer's file at a consumer reporting agency is disputed by the consumer and the consumer notifies the agency directly or indirectly through a reseller of such dispute, the agency shall free of charge conduct a reasonable investigation to determine whether the disputed information is inaccurate and record the current status of the disputed information or delete the item from the file in accordance with paragraph 5 before the end of the 30-day period beginning on the date on which the agency receives the notice of dispute from the consumer or reseller. That's the law. It literally says they have to determine whether the disputed information is inaccurate or delete the item from the file in accordance to paragraph 5, which is this whole paragraph that I just read. You see why it's important to know? Like, imagine you're a carpenter and you don't know how to use a hammer. Or you're a painter, you don't even know how to use a roller or a paintbrush. There are credit repair companies that don't know how to use their tool. These laws are in the dispute letters that we send to the credit bureaus because we don't want to get the runaround, the hokey dokey from these people, right? So we include that in there so that they know we're not messing around. So round one, that law right there, 1681 I-5, is on that letter because they know that we are going to hold them to that standard, right? So they have 30 days to do that, okay? So round one, hey, credit bureau, hey, Equifax, I look at my credit report. There are some items on there. I want you to, number one, verify belong to me. And number two, are reporting 100% accurately on my credit report. If you're unable to do so, according to FCRA 1681 5A IA, I demand you delete this immediately from my credit report. Boom, and we send out that letter. Now, let's say the bureaus have 30 days to investigate that, right? So what we do is we mail out the letter today. 35 days from today, we will get an updated credit report from the client's credit monitoring account. Why 35 days? Because they have 30 days from when they receive the letter, not from when we mail it. 30 days from when they receive the letter. So we want to make sure that by the time we get the new updated credit report, that a full 30 days since they received the letter have passed. Make sense? So that extra 5 days is for the mail time to get from us to them, right? So let's say it's been 35 days, and now we get an updated credit report from the credit monitoring company, from Smart Credit or Identity or whatever credit monitor we're using, and nothing has changed. All of the items that we disputed, that we asked for them to verify belong to you and are still reporting accurately, and if they're not able to do so, please remove it. Let's say none of it got removed. Then what did they do? They verified that it's yours and is accurate. Because if they were unable to do so, they would have done what? They would have removed them from the credit report, right? So any item that was that was challenged in round one, that is still showing up on the credit report 35 days later, that's the credit bureaus making a claim that, yep, we verify that it's yours, and yep, we verify that it's 100% accurately reporting on your credit report. So now that they have made that claim, guess who has the burden of proof? They do, right? Because I didn't say this is not mine. I didn't say I don't remember being late. I didn't say I've never seen this collection company before. I didn't say any of that. All I said is, please verify that this account is mine and is reporting accurately, 100% accurate on my credit report. If you can't do so, delete it. So if it's still on a credit report, it's because you did verify that it's mine and is accurate, right? So now that the burden of proof is on them, we can get to work, baby, right? We can dispute anything that we want, and they are the ones that are going to have to prove it because they have claimed that everything is 100% accurate. So if I dispute the balance and the balance is clearly inaccurate, how can they have verified that it's 100% accurately? How can the balance on TransUnion be 500, on Equifax be 485, and TransUnion be 572 on the same account? It's physically and literally impossible. You have that one Bank of America credit card. TransUnion says you owe 500, Equifax says you owe 520, and Experian says you owe 480. On that same credit card. Impossible, right? Somebody's lying. They may all be lying. They may all have it wrong, or maybe one of them has it wrong, or two of them. But the point is, somebody for sure has got it wrong because this account cannot have a different balance for each bureau because it's the same account, right? So now in round two, what do? We look at each negative item that's on the client's credit report, and we spot these discrepancies, these inaccuracies, the dates, right? Equifax says you opened a card on December 1st, 2024, and Experian says you opened a card on October 10th, 2024. How's that possible? It's one account. I can't have opened this account on this date and that date. I opened this account on one of those dates. Which one is it? So we look at the credit report and how each bureau is reporting the same type of information. And if there's any discrepancies on that, we're going to use that as our dispute reason. We're going to say, hey, Equifax, the balance on this account is inaccurate. You are reporting 500. TransUnion is reporting 520, Experian is reporting 580. What I know is that you can't all be right. If this is, I demand you remove this inaccurate information immediately from my credit report according to FCRA 1681 I-5. They have to either prove that they are right or remove it. They don't have any other choice. Their choices at this point is prove that what they reporting is accurate or remove it, because they're not allowed to report inaccurate information, right? But you know what oftentimes these credit bureaus do is they just ignore you. We'll send them a letter. They may not even investigate. Then we send them round 2. Nothing. And then we'll send them round 3. And nothing. Round 4, and round 12, and round 15. You and I, we don't have the delete button. We can't delete any. Like, it's inaccurate. Legally, it should be removed off the credit report, but I don't have the delete button. I'm not a police officer. I cannot pull over the guy next to me that is speeding. I'm not a police officer. I cannot pull over the guy that ran a red light. I'm not the credit bureaus. I don't have the delete button. I cannot delete the information. All I can do is try to leverage the law as much as I humanly possibly could on our client's behalf to try to force them to do the right thing. But if they continue to choose to do the wrong thing, unfortunately, there's nothing you and I can do. You can file a complaint with the CFPB. You can dispute and dispute and dispute and dispute until they finally do something about it. But the point is, even if they're dead wrong in their rights, they violated, everything is inaccurate, nothing is done. Even if that's the case, we still can't guarantee anything because we don't have the delete button. Only they do. And if they don't choose to push it, then that account is not going to come off the credit report. We are doing everything we can to try to help our clients to have an accurate credit report. We're trying. Trust me. A lot of credit repair companies don't have an attorney in their pocket that are willing to sue the credit bureaus and get their clients paid. Credit Likes does, right? So we're not just sending letters. We're not just printing paper, put them in an envelope and send. Like, we're going above and beyond to try to do our best for the clients, right? But at the end of the day, we don't have the delete button. All we can do is try to put as much pressure, as much legal pressure as we can on them to ensure that they do the right thing, right? So round 2, we dispute it. Hey, you verified that this item was mine and it's accurate. How is this accurate? When you're reporting 535 days later, we get another brand new updated credit report as of that date. And guess what? Nothing's changed again. Everything is still crap. Everything is still wrong and they didn't remove it. Let's keep going, right? We know that this can happen. So now we're going to send them a round 3 letter, which is pretty much demanding a method of verification. Hey, Equifax, not only once, but twice now, you have claimed that everything on my credit report is accurate and it belongs to me. You said that somehow these 3 balances that are all different are accurate. What method did you use to verify that this information is accurate? Because guess what? The method of verification is also a part of the law right here. Page 48, notice of results of investigation. A notice that if requested by the consumer, a description of the procedure used to determine the accuracy and completeness of the information shall be provided to the consumer by the agency, including the business name and address of any furnisher of information contacted in connection with such information and the telephone number of such furnishers if reasonably available. If requested by a consumer, a description of the procedure used to determine the accuracy and completeness of the information shall be provided to the consumer by the agency. On round 3, that's what we're doing. We're exercising our rights, or your client's rights, our client's rights under the FCRA. Method of verification. What procedures did your company follow to verify this information? And guess what? If you don't supply that, you are violating this section of the law. I can give you a ticket, right? Your ticket is you have to remove this information from my credit report. Does that make sense? Now, let's say in round 4, now you send out that letter and still 35 days later, you pull a credit report and everything is still crap. Everything is still negative. Nothing came off the credit report. They're still not playing ball. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. Okay, we're going to go to round 4, right? In round 4, we're going to send what I call an angry letter, right? It's like, I'm sick and tired of you credit bureaus violating my rights, right? It's an aggressive tone letter that we sent to the credit bureaus, demanding that they comply with the law and remove this information. But we also do something that most credit repair companies don't do. We take the fight directly to the furnisher of the information. Meaning, if you're disputing a Bank of America charge off, we're going to dispute it with Experian, we're going to dispute it with TransUnion, we're going to dispute it with Equifax, and we're going to dispute it directly with Bank of America. So starting in round 4, any items that were not removed from the credit report, we're now going to dispute, yes, still with the credit bureaus, but now we're also going to take the fight directly to the creditor, directly to the data furnisher that is reporting that information to the credit bureau in the first place. Because guess what? The credit bureaus are just the messenger. And you've heard the saying, don't shoot the messenger, right? Well, in this case, you can't shoot the messenger because the messenger is supposed to comply with these laws just as much as the person sending the message. So Bank of America needs to comply by all of this. Experian needs to comply by all of this. And TransUnion and Equifax and Chase and Capital One and Midland Funding and Wells Fargo and anybody that is reported responsible for reporting information on your credit report has to comply and abide by these laws. So now in round 4, we're clearly just getting the runaround from the credit bureaus. Let's go directly to the source. Hey, Bank of America, for the last 3 months, I've been getting the runaround from the credit bureaus. They keep telling me that you're the one that's reporting this information to them. Tell me, how can you report a $500 balance to TransUnion, a $520 balance to Experian, and a $480 balance to Equifax? How in the world is that accurate? You're violating the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I demand you remove this inaccurate information. So now we're taking the fight directly to the source, the companies that are reporting that information to the credit bureaus in the first place. Look, if Bank of America told Equifax to report $500, Equifax is going to report $500. If Bank of America told TransUnion to report $600, TransUnion is going to report $600 because that's what they're being told to report, right? But Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax have the legal obligation to ensure that that information is accurate if they're going to report it. But they don't ensure that because they get paid. Every time Bank of America says report this, Bank of America has to pay them to do that. So they're just going to do what they're being paid to do. And they're going to push the blame to Bank of America, right? Now, let's say we do that, and then 35 days later, we pull the credit report, and it's still crap, it's still all bad, it's still all on there. Then we're going to send a round 5 letter. And in round 5 letter, we're threatening to take legal action against them. If you continue to refuse to remove this inaccurate information, I may get an attorney involved, right? And we're trying to now show them that we are serious about making sure that our credit report is accurate. And if you're not going to comply by the laws, then I'll make sure that we have the legal leverage to ensure that you do comply by the laws, right? So in a nutshell, right, that's like an overview of what the credit repair program with Credit Likes looks like, right? We know the laws. We're trying to leverage them as much as we can. I lost all my hair because the credit bureaus drove me crazy by refusing to remove information from a credit report that legally should not be there. There's nothing else. Like, if I could get in my car and drive over there and break in and push the delete button, I would. I can't do that, right? I can't. All I can do is try to leverage the legal ways as much as I possibly could on our client's behalf to ensure that they have an accurate credit report, right? Now, you have credit sweeps. You have all of this illegal stuff where you go to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission's website, and you download a form that's called the Identity Theft Affidavit, and you say you are a victim of identity theft, and these accounts are not yours, and you go to the police station, and you file a police report saying that your identity was stolen, and on your credit report, there's all these accounts that don't belong to you, right? And then you take that bozo police report and that bozo identity theft affidavit, put it with the dispute letter, send it to Equifax, says, I was a victim of identity theft. This is not mine. This is not mine. This is not mine. This is not mine. See attached my FTC affidavit and a police report. 99.9% chance it's going to come off the credit report, right? But there's also a high chance that you can go to jail because you're committing fraud. I don't want to take that risk. I don't think anyone should take that risk. But there are tons of companies out there taking that risk. A couple years ago, I talked about this lady out in Houston. She went to jail because Capital One caught on that she was using the same exact police report for multiple clients claiming identity theft. All she did was change the client's name and the client's account number and kept sending that police report to Capital One. She did it so many times that somebody at Capital One was like, I've seen this before. The only thing that changed it, and she got reported and she went to jail. Look it up. Think I'm lying? Look it up. I'm not interested in any of that. I want to do things literally by the book. That's how we do. That's why I've been in business for 13 years. Why? Because we do things the right way. We're on a mission to change lives together, right? But we got to do it the right way. We can't try to copy what everybody else is doing on social media and what everybody else is doing on TikTok and say, well, I saw that if you call the credit bureaus and you tell them that this inquiry has to come off, no, it doesn't. You applied for the account. It should be on your credit report. You know you applied for that Bank of America credit card. That's why that Bank of America inquiry is on your credit report, because you did it. You call the credit bureau and say, I never applied. You're lying. We don't do that, right? Now, we will dispute it and we will say, hey, Equifax, show me that Bank of America had permissible purpose to access my credit file. If you're unable to do that, I demand that you delete it immediately from my credit report. Why? Because the Fair Credit Reporting Act talks about permissible purpose being required, necessary for inquiries to happen. And if they cannot prove permissible purpose, then they have to remove it. But guess what? If they can't prove permissible purpose, then they don't have to remove it. Calling the credit bureaus and saying, I didn't apply for this, delete this from my credit report, you're a liar. And I'm not a liar. I'm not going to do that. And I know you guys aren't going to do that either, right? But telling your clients to do it, now you're making your clients liars. Don't tell them to do that either, right? Permissible purpose. That means that there was a legal reason for Bank of America to access your credit report, and there was legal reason for Equifax to give Bank of America that access to your credit report. If there wasn't a legal reason, then they didn't have permissible purpose, then they shouldn't have access to your credit reports. Therefore, that inquiry should come off your credit report. Okay? It's that simple. That's exactly how it works. You can get this book on Amazon. Just look for the Fair Credit Reporting Act on Amazon. You have questions like, well, how do you dispute a charge-off? Well, how do you dispute a bankruptcy? Well, how do you get a repossession off? The answer to all of those questions is the same. Look, the credit bureaus, they have data. That's it. And they don't have feelings. Data is a thing. It doesn't have feelings, right? You and I, we're human beings. We have feelings. So when we think bankruptcy, ooh, a medical bill, like we have these feelings, right? It's data about a bankruptcy. It's data about a medical bill. It's data about a late payment. It's data about a repossession. It's data. We are disputing the reporting of the data. It doesn't matter what that data is. Doesn't matter if it's about a bankruptcy or a late payment or a collection or a charge-off or child support or foreclosure. It's the data that is being disputed. It's the data that is legally regulated to be reported in a certain way. So how do you dispute a charge-off? The same way you dispute a bankruptcy, the same way you dispute a medical bill, the same way you dispute a child support, because you're disputing. Is it timely? Is it verifiable? And is it accurate? And if it's not, you got to remove it. Period. That's it. Is this mine? Is this medical bill mine? Can you prove it? Is it reporting accurately on my credit report? Can you prove it? Is it timely? Can you prove it? If the answer is no to any of those questions, it has to come off. So it doesn't matter what the account is, right? Will sound like a broken record. Doesn't matter if it's a repossession or a late payment. If it's a bankruptcy or a medical collection, it doesn't matter. The data is disputed because of it. It doesn't matter, Bree, if it's student loans. It's the data. What about the student loans are you disputing? The payment history, the balance, the existence of the student loans? It doesn't matter. Is the student loan reporting 100% accurately on my credit report? Yes or no? If it is, can you provide proof that that student loan is reporting 100% accurately on my credit report? Yes or no? Is this student loan timely reported on my credit report? Yes or no? If the answer is no to any one of those things, that student loan should be removed off your credit report. So it doesn't matter what it is. Student loans or bankruptcies or charge-offs or medical bills. You're disputing the data. It doesn't matter what the data is related to, what type of account that data is related to. It's the data it's the reporting of the data that gets the accounts removed because they're violating the way that it's being reported.
I hope this training that I did with our team was valuable to you as well. Inside the CRO Bootcamp, I show you more strategies on how to do credit repair legally and ethically and how to scale your business to 100 clients in as little as 100 days. If you'd like to learn more about joining the CRO Bootcamp, simply click the link below this video and I'll see you in there.